walked into the house, actually, when we saw the listing, we knew the kitchen would have to go. The kitchen had no storage, no cabinetry, a poor layout, and overall wasn't going to work for our hopefully growing family. The old kitchen was basically a conglomeration of bits and pieces of furniture, probably from other rooms. There was no kind of cohesive kitchen design, and there was definitely lacking storage. The original layout on the house when we purchased it, the window and the door were in the opposite spots. So we figured out that we would need to switch them in order to get a U-shaped kitchen and then be able to have a banquette on the opposite side. And without doing that, you couldn't have cabinetry on one wall because the door was too close to the corner. So it really made a lot of sense to go to the extra step of swapping them. I was really committed to not taking down the wall between the kitchen and the dining room, which I thought about a lot, and a lot of people encouraged me to take it down. But I just felt at the end of the day that I didn't want to be sitting in my dining room and be able to see the kitchen. I wanted to have that space separate. So what I did in order to make up for not having an eating area in the kitchen was I created a banquette space inside the kitchen where I have to say me and my family eat 99% of the time. Is made of recycled leather, but it's actually a vinyl, which works amazing. I mean, vinyl is your best friend when it comes to being able to clean things. I also often work there in the day if I'm home working because I can sit there with my laptop and my tea and get work done. It's a great spot to work. Obviously, it's a small kitchen. It's about 14 by 11. So realistically, we could have jam-packed storage on every wall and gone uppers on every wall. But at the end of the day, in a small kitchen, that's gonna make it feel kind of crammed. So I chose to do open shelving on one wall. I also love open shelving because I feel like it's really friendly for visitors. And I feel like when people come over, they feel free that they can grab a glass because not everything is behind doors. But then we went full height on the pantry section and on the one main storage wall that houses the fridge and the microwave and everything. And that is the wall that connects to the dining room. So had we taken that wall down, we basically would lose that whole wall of storage, which wouldn't work at all. The biggest challenges with an old crooked house is your floors are crooked. So our floors are so crooked that if we'd wanted to lay a large scale tile, we would have had to basically do a new subfloor, which we did anyways, and then do concrete and level the whole thing, which was going to be a long process and really change the height from the living room to the kitchen. But luckily, really into a small scale pattern. So we came up with the idea of doing 3/4 inch hexagon, and we created a pattern that my Tyler lovingly installed. He didn't even complain, not even one time, which is shocking. But because of that, and we knew we were going to go really light on the floors, mainly white, and I really like the idea of a darker cabinet. I feel like it hides some sins sometimes, they can get a bit messier, and also because we were going to have two walls that are basically open with no uppers, we could go darker on all the cabinetry and you don't risk the feeling that everything feels really closed in. In general, I always hate when there's like a little strip of backsplash because it just cuts off the wall halfway and really draws your eye kind of right down to the countertop level, which is, you want your eye to be kind of bouncing around and ideally up. And in this kitchen, it's a bit industrial and a bit farmy. A subway tile was an easy choice. I love subway tile, especially with the dark grout, which is way easier to clean. In a space like my kitchen that has so much black, white, and gray, you definitely need to add in some warmth. So with the wood shelves and other wood tones that we added, it definitely helps add in the warmth, as well as the caramel banquette. But on top of that, onto the tile, we put the paintings up, which helped a lot and make it feel cozier. And oftentimes I think people omit art from kitchens because they feel like it should be more clean or that it might get damaged, but I feel like that just adds to the space and adds another layer. Honestly, designing a space for myself was way harder. My husband is a tough client. He's like ridiculously picky. One time when asked to describe his personal style, he said it was retro-futuristic. What does that mean? I was like, do you mean mid-century modern? He's like, I don't know. I find it harder for myself because with clients it's easy to narrow down and present 3 great options, tell them which one I think is the best and they pick. But for myself, I'm exposed to so many different things that it's overwhelming because there's too many choices. But what I always focused on was trying to keep in mind the overall look for my whole house. I kind of had that urban farmhouse tag, and then I'd always kind of come back to, does this fit within my vision of everything kind of connecting together? And that doesn't mean that everything has to fit into urban farmhouse, but could it relate in some way? So I thought about that a lot, but I definitely feel like it's harder designing for myself than for my clients.